we should talk about the elephant in the room, and that is seasonal depression. Seasonal depression. I'm trying to combat it with the absolute wrong energy. But we don't have time for it this season. Listen, it's Liz here, and I am no stranger to feeling sad. And there is a difference between sad and depressed. And sad, when I say that, I don't mean just like crying in your room. I mean seasonal affective disorder. Now, the actual definition, I am not a doctor. Please don't try to quote me. But I guess I could Google it for us all so that I'm not giving false information. But then also, once you Google it, forget about it. It's actually defined as a type of depression that typically occurs during the fall and winter months, and it is characterized by symptoms as low mood, loss of interest in activities once enjoyed, changes in appetite, fatigue, or low energy levels, difficulty concentrating on making decisions, and basically ick. Like, you just feel icky. Now, I think we should preface this. I am not a doctor. I cannot diagnose you. But if you are feeling any of these symptoms, and these symptoms are staying for a while, it might be a good idea to talk to somebody. I, around this time last year, finally started telling people how I was feeling, and they were a little shocked, a little surprised. I am able to hide it as well as I am, but with this upcoming season, I have a bit of anxiety about it because I remember how I felt last year. I'm in a completely different boat than where I was last year. I've done a lot of work. I'm on medication. I am aware of what's happening around me. But as soon as I started talking to my doctor, my therapist, let me tell you, it's worth talking to somebody. And maybe you don't feel comfortable talking to your loved ones because you don't want them to worry. But also, like, just get it off your chest because it's so normal. It's so normal, and there are so many ways to help. So, number one, take care of yourself. But number two, I have been seeing a lot of stuff on TikTok as I've been scrolling and online on Facebook, Instagram, basically of people like giving their best advice of what they do for seasonal affective disorder or just to keep themselves in higher spirits. And I think that it was good because I was looking and I saw some people who were like, oh, I need to go into my light therapy or saunas or whatever it is, which there is science backed behind it, 100%. Not all of us have access to that. And especially right now with how the world is and how, people are counting their pennies and trying their best to just get through the days. I was like, how can I best relay information, not only for others, but myself, because I am not an expert in being happy. I am not an expert in what you should be doing. I still have bad habits. I still have I am not perfect. So I started looking up ways that other people have tried to combat it without necessarily spending huge amount of money or, just trying my best with what you got. So these are some of the things that I found. And I was like, you know what? Let's share it. Let's talk about it. Because not only do I have to do this for myself, but I do feel like the more I've talked about it, there are people out there who reach back out and they're like, I can't believe that you've felt that way. That's how I've been feeling. I didn't know I wasn't alone in that. I didn't know that it was okay to say those things or be that way. So I figure let's just showcase some of the ways that have actually helped me as of recently, because where I am at this point this year versus last year is so far different. And one of the things that I did that I changed was scheduling fun. Now, there are those around me who have no problem with this. And I wish I could be there. I watch, because I compare online as I'm looking, I was like, how do these people get everything done? How do they still have laundry? Or how do they have time to go out and do all of these things or eat out all the time? And how, what is happening? And the one thing that my therapist is trying to remind me, I do not need to do all my chores before I can go and have fun. I do not have to have a perfectly clean house to leave for a vacation. I can go and do those things. I can relax in a messy house and life will continue on, which is wild. There will always be dishes. There will always be laundry. But at the same time, there's no need to stress yourself out. Because I would go so far that I would exhaust myself trying to get all of my stuff on my to-do list done in order to go out with my friends. And then like I would be ready to go home early because I was exhausted. And then next thing you know, I am putting myself in a really terrible, like burnt out cycle. So I wasn't enjoying the time with my friends that I should have been doing because that was what I was doing all that work in order to do. So this is how I've been combating it. And I highly recommend it. And I had somebody give me like the best compliment ever. They're like, how do you find this stuff? Like, how do you know that these things are going on? And what I've been doing is the week before, or maybe 2 weeks before the next upcoming month, I look at it. So I just did this for November, right? And as I'm looking at the schedule, I'm like, all right, what do I have to do for work? What are the big, like major things that are happening? Thanksgiving. Are we doing Black Friday? When is the gingerbread house competition? And then like also recognizing when am I working late? When am I working early? Because I also tend to be a person who doesn't say no to people. And then I cause myself to go into this like really terrible cycle of burning myself out for other people by saying yes to things and not giving myself a break or time to catch up or whatever. But now I'm like very aware, oh no, I'm working late that night, so maybe I shouldn't say yes to that early in the morning. Like I need to make sure I'm planning a bit better for myself. But once I have like those big things done, appointments and family things and whatever, I then go into Facebook and I just search events that are happening near me. I mean, I'm embarrassed to say this was the first year I've ever gotten to the cheese festival. I have said I wanted to go for the last, I think 5 years it's been around. And I finally got there. And it was so much fun. And it's because I looked up the stuff. I made a schedule. I messaged my friends about like, hey, do you want to go to this with me? And whoever was available, we managed to make it work. And we got there. And there is something to be said about that. I had somebody say like, how did... and I check all kinds of different calendars. And whether that's just generic ones on Facebook, I also can't recommend more your local library. I'm a trustee for the Utica Public Library, but I know the amazing free, I repeat this, free for every age, stuff that they have on the calendar every month. And I think this month we're making centerpieces, my mom and I. We're going to go do that. We've made butter lambs in the past. It's also just like ways to learn how to do something new, which I think is also super important as we go into this upcoming season. So look online and see what you can potentially go to, what could be different, how can you go and explore, and whether it's something that is something that costs money, or it's free, or it's an activity that gets you moving. I just can't recommend it enough. I have loved doing that. My camera roll this year, which is what I talked about in my first episode, I really wanted to fix it. My camera roll was a lot of work in 2024. And so for 2025, I have made it my mission. And I also have been asking Facebook, which has been another big help. I'll put up my bucket list in my notes app and I'm like, okay, I look at the calendar and I'm like, these are the things I want to go to. But then also say it's July. I want to see fireworks. Watch fireworks is generic on the list. Putting those things, those unserious goals, which I saw a girl talking about on TikTok. I thought it was a brilliant idea. Unserious goals include things that romanticize where we are, what we're doing. And no, they're not losing 15 pounds to make your doctor happy. But if you're on serious goals, you want to get a new welcome mat that is in the shape of a gingerbread house for the holiday season, go get it for yourself or make it yourself or whatever it's going to be. Unserious goals are just as important as the serious ones because it just helps us get through the days. So I found that that was one of the best things, and I put it on Facebook and people will tell me where I should go. If it's visit a pumpkin patch, they tell me which one I should go visit. And I just think that is taking the time to do that, and looking at the schedule was one of the best things I could have ever done. So if you're like me and you have a hard time scheduling fun, I can't recommend it more, because also we know that as adults, we don't get to see our friends as much as we'd like to. Family, friends, kids, there's all kinds of schedule stuff that pops up. And I only get to see my best friends very rarely. I think I only talked to my sister in the last month, maybe 2-3 times. Of course, now I've seen her every day since, but it makes it easier for you to get on other people's schedules when you're like, hey, would you want to do this today? Or this is going to be going down in a couple weeks. Are you free? And it's just a nice way of putting something on the calendar. Which leads me into my next thing, because a majority of everybody that I saw online talking about this, they were like, you need to have something to look forward to. And no, it does not have to be a 5-day cruise. It doesn't need to be something super elaborate, but maybe something small that makes sense for you and your friends and your group and your family that could be great during the long winter months. And it could be as simple as making it Friday pizza night. And you know that on Friday you're having pizza and you're going to make them together and you're going to invite over cousins and whoever, and cool. I've seen a lot of people talk about like trivia nights, great thing to do, starting up book clubs, but like trying to make it so that you have that third place, I think is really important. And third place defined as, you have your home, you have your work, but most, like back in the day, there's always that third place that you had. We lost that during COVID for obvious reasons, but whether that was your library or a coffee shop or a restaurant or wherever, where you could go and you felt super comfortable and you built a community and you met new people and you were able to just like socialize a little bit, which is really, really important, especially in the dark days, because I am the first one to say I want to be home alone on my couch with my cats. But I also know it's really important to do this, to talk to other people and to interact. So like giving myself those opportunities to get out of the house, to do that, so important. I'm going to specifically shout out to some of my friends who do this fantastic concept called Soup of the Week. And Soup of the Week is basically exactly what it sounds like. All of them make a soup and they bring it together on one night and then they swap the soup. Because there's only so many, there's so many times where if I were to make an entire pot of soup for myself and my family, they're not going to want to eat it for the whole week. But this is what they do. And every week they trade out their soups. Brilliant idea. It helps with meal prep. It helps with, not having to worry about dinner. I think that that's a fantastic idea. So maybe it's not necessarily soup, but maybe you do like crock pot meals, or you do freezer bags and you trade with your friends and your family and you get together and it's a Sunday night dinner. I'm just saying, you don't have to think of it as something where you're spending $1 million and going out and with drinks and this and that. It could be something that's much more simple, that is much more low-key. It's watching a TV show together. It's having a board game night. Don't ask me to play board games. I have no interest, but I know some people out there do. Maybe it is like a bigger Sunday football thing during the long winter months. I'm just saying that having something to look forward to is important. I wanted to put myself into a water aerobic class, which does also go into the next thing, which is moving your body in some way, shape, or form. But I wanted to do water aerobics. It was full by the time it was done because, number one, wouldn't that be hilarious? And number two, I wanted to be able to get together with my friends in a way that was different, and it was on the schedule and I had to get there, and it made me move. I thought it would just be brilliant. I guess not till next year. I mean, even if it's finding out that you just want to go and read in public somewhere else, or you want to find a community of people who like the same things as you, I think it's possible. You just have to search a little bit for it. Fitness. I know that nobody wants to hear this, especially when it's icky outside and gross and cold, but it is important to move your body. And I, as you can see, don't necessarily always listen to my own advice. But I do know that I feel better when I am at the gym on a regular basis. Now, I have not been in months. I just went back this past week for 2 days. You would have thought I was walking like I was 80 years old. So I myself am trying to get back into it. But I'm also very aware of what I like and what I don't like. There are people who enjoy running. There are people who enjoy CrossFit. There are people who enjoy ellipticals. There are people who enjoy Zumba. I don't like the dance workouts. I don't know why. You would think that I would love them. I feel like because I really can't dance, and then putting on a show of that way with other people, terrible. But maybe it's finding a Pilates, a yoga, kickboxing. There are so many great, amazing places that can get you moving and get you active and also let you meet new people. I love my gym friends. I think that there is something to be said about the community that I have, and I think that's why I love to go there. I do love their team trainings as well. It's 45 minutes where in those 45 minutes, the only person who's getting anything out of that is me. And I think that's why it's so important to move your body. Because no matter how I looked at it when I was really, really sad or really, really down in the dumps, the only person who's benefiting from me working out and doing a burpee or doing this or doing that is myself. Like, it's not, I mean, obviously everybody gets a better version of myself, but the only person I'm really truly helping is me, which was huge when I realized what it meant to do that for myself. So I can't recommend more trying to find a gym or a space that makes sense for you. And maybe it's yoga, and maybe it's Pilates, or maybe it's, in wintertime when we have snow, I know there's people who love their skiing and their snowboarding. I'm terrified of that, but I found last year that I loved snowshoeing. Actually started that. That was one of the things I looked forward to on Saturday mornings. We would go and we'd snowshoe if it was like a good enough day. And it was outside. It was fresh air, soaking up sun, bundled up, of course. And it was literally just walking. And it felt so good. So again, I think you can find things that make sense for you. So if we have things on our calendar, we're trying our best to stay moving. What's the next best thing for ourselves? I'm going to say hobbies, and I know most of you are going to roll your eyes at this. I'm going to roll your eyes at this because I have no hobbies. I'm hoping to make this my hobby during the winter holiday, but I really don't have any hobbies where I want to do it. I tend to doom scroll, and I'm not proud of it, especially during the winter time. So I am trying my best to find things that are going to be a good outlet. My sister wants me to learn cross stitching. I'm trying to get back into reading. I'm a very slow reader, but I've been doing audiobooks as of recently, and I'm just finishing Pride and Prejudice right now, and I think that that's like the best way for me to read like the classics right now is through audio. So any other recommendations would be fantastic. But truly, having things that you're doing, that you're trying, that are new, just think about how dark those days are. January, February, March. What else are we doing? January lasts for like half of the entire year. So trying to make sure that you're doing something for yourself is so important. I do have this hilarious little miniature kit. If you know me, I love miniature things. And it's like a Christmas scene that I found at the thrift store. And you make it, and what's more sad about it is that when I found it in the thrift store, the credit card machines were down and I didn't have any cash, but I knew I wanted this silly little item. So I hid it, went back a couple days later, found it. I was so excited, and I should take that out now because I should start planning that and putting that on my Instagram, being like, let's see if I can make this in time for the holidays, which most likely the answer is no. Having hobbies is a great idea, but I don't have any. If you have any other good ideas or options, I'm always interested. I haven't been able to find a hobby. I've been talking about finding a hobby now for years. Maybe this is the year. The other thing I saw that I do feel like makes sense is if you feel like you have a cluttered space, you're not going to feel very good about where you're at. And there was a girl who was like, if you can take the time now before the seasonal depression kicks in or before the days are shorter and the nights are longer, and pick an area of your home that makes you feel overwhelmed and clear it out, whether that's declutter it, organize it better, clean, dust, whatever, you'll probably feel better. And it's crazy because I woke up on November 1st. I looked at all the Halloween decor. I was like, it's got to come down. Now, I have been waiting to put up Christmas, but I'm like, I'm not ready yet. I don't want to have all of the things around. I get overwhelmed by too much stuff for too long. So it's like, I think I need to do 2 weeks of just like bare bones before I bring down the tree and start switching everything out. But it felt really good to go through and dust and clear. And I moved the attic around so that the upcoming holiday stuff, like I'm going to know where it's at Valentine's Day is on top again so that it's not going to be in the cold attic for too long. And I do feel better today waking up and seeing those spaces, those like catch-all locations, clear it up. People are like, really make sure you clean your bedroom, because obviously that's where you're going to be during the dark days, but like clean your mirrors, dust. Make sure, like, people are like, move your furniture around, give yourself some kind of new environment, do something different. And it is kind of funny how your environment can play such a role on yourself. But, you know, I was thinking about this because I probably spent a majority of the entire day downstairs on my first floor trying to get that as ready and prepared for not only the week, but for the Christmas decor, and like this kind of mindset of like, how can I help myself in the future? And then I'm thinking like the upstairs is looking like a disaster because everything is just going upstairs. And a reminder that if you feel like you've gotten something handled so well, and then you look and you see that like there are things that you haven't been avoiding or you haven't been able to give your full attention to, it's okay. Because you can't have everything all at once. If my laundry's done, most likely that means I haven't done my meal prep. And if I have this edited or filmed, then that must mean that my other work is suffering. And I think it's normal. It's so normal. But it's figuring out like, how can you make it possible for yourself not to get overwhelmed by it? A lot of people recommend like a 30-minute timer. Go into those areas, go into those areas, declutter them, and just give yourself 30 minutes. That's it. And what do you know? You might be able to finish the task, get a majority of the task done, whichever. I mean, the holidays are going to be here before we know it. And I feel like there's a whole nother world that goes into. And we could do a whole nother episode specifically about the holidays. But I think my one thing I really want to push about this upcoming season is if you're feeling any of those things with like, you're not interested in some of your old hobbies, you have low energy, you can cry at the drop of a hat, don't just sit in it. You can't sit in it, because the longer you sit in it, the harder it is to come out of it. And there are people who can help you not do that. But it felt really good yesterday to get into bed with fresh sheets and a fresh vacuumed bedroom. And I wiped off my mirrors, and you would have thought that would change my entire outlook on life, but it did. So my vote is that we take care of ourselves. We decide what we're going to do and how we're going to be affected by it. And of course, there will be days where you can sit in feeling a little bit frumpy or icky or lazy. And I think that that's totally fine, because it is winter. We are allowed. But I can't say it enough that if you're feeling like that a lot, like a majority of the time a lot, we don't have time for that. Because we're doing better. We are doing better for ourselves. So yeah, that would be my advice. Schedule fun, find a way to move your body, and try your best to have something to look forward to. You know, I think that there's a lot of really great people and a lot of really great organizations around us that make it their mission to give people something to do during the cold, dark nights of winter. And I mean, right now, November, December, we're not going to feel it as much because the holidays. I always feel like the holidays kind of block me from feeling anything, because there's so much to do and there's so much good energy, and I love the holidays. It's my favorite time of year. But January, February, March, that's what I'm concerned about. And if we can get into a really good routine now, you're just setting yourself up to not be as sad. That's the best thing. Like, if you can make it so that you can combat it, I think that would be the ultimate. So here's my hope for you for November. You plan a little bit of fun. You enjoy some time with your friends, your family. You know, I'm very thankful this season of what I've been able to accomplish for myself in the last year, for myself, for like where I've grown and those kind of things. But this year, if you can help out people around you, do what you can. And if that's volunteering your time, even if it's something like you can't monetarily donate to things, let's just remember to be kind to one another and be thankful and grateful this Thanksgiving. But you know what's crazy is, like, as I sit out here, it's a beautiful day today, and I can see my breath a little bit. When I first started, not so much anymore. The sun is out. Like, I went for a walk yesterday and I stopped because the sun was out, and I just took off my sunglasses and I stared up into the sun and I closed my eyes and I soaked up the sun literally. And I was like, this is what you have to do. You have to sometimes stop what you're doing, realize what's happening around you, and embrace it. And in that moment, the sun came out for a little part of my walk, and I soaked it up for all that I could. So it's going to be okay. We're going to get through it. We're going to be happy. Imagine if I came up with an acronym like healthy and personal perseverance. Yodeling is the only word that's coming to mind, which is not anything, but we're going to be happy this season, and we're going to try our best to be good. And if you've got anything cool, fun, or better advice than me, just remember, I am not a doctor. I am just a girl trying to live life on a budget and live through these unprecedented times over and over and over again. So here's to you. Cheers. I'm going to finish my iced coffee on this beautiful day. I can't get over how nice it is. And I don't know what I'm going to do when it becomes really, really too cold to sit out here, because anybody with any advice, let a girl know.